Greetings and salutations, this is TechRenard here, back with more Sonic Frontiers, and yeah, I'm kinda just going back to get some stiff. That's what I'm back over here for. Back over near the beginning of the island. But yeah, we're continuing the story. Sorry, I don't got much to say yet.
These ruins are almost like a puzzle.
I know, right? I don't even know what I'm doing with most of these. I'm just running on instinct.
Well, the energy that powers them is linked to cyberspace, right? And you took on that power when you freed me. Maybe that link is giving you special insight? Maybe they use that link among themselves. Like, instead of a language, they shared their thoughts and feelings directly.
Yeah, maybe. Well, all I know is the idea of the map gets updated in my head, which brings me one step closer to rescuing you.
Yeah, I basically knew a cutscene was coming like that soon, so I was basically just trying to keep talking until it did. But now that I actually have time to speak, I'm going to speak. I want to give my thoughts on Amy here. I want to give my quick thoughts on her, because under normal circumstances, I am not a big fan of Amy. I'm really not, because, and I'm going to give you my reason why. I never really liked the fangirl nature of her personality. Honestly speaking, like, if I'm just being completely honest. Now don't get me wrong, in some games before this, I did like her. Like, I liked her in Unleashed. I did like her in Rise of Lyric, despite how bad that game was. But I liked her in Heroes too, just those 3 games, because those 3 games kind of like, they felt like, first of all, the Boom series doesn't have her acting like a fangirl at all. So that's Rise of Lyric reasoning right there. For Unleashed and Heroes, they don't solely focus on that. They give other things to her character. So does SA1, but SA1, her story's kind of short, so didn't think it was worth bringing up. But yeah. What was I say? Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about how she is in this game. This is probably my favorite portrayal of Amy, and this game, along with the IDW comics, have actually gotten me to like her. Because she doesn't act like a fangirl in the comics or here. Obviously, she still likes Sonic, and she still acts on that like for Sonic, but like, how do I put this? She isn't annoying about it. Like she was in a few games. Like Generations, for example. She was kind of annoying in Generations, because every line she had was relating to her liking Sonic. And that was just, that just wasn't it. If I'm being honest. Another example being, some of her SA1 and SA2 scenes, which are kind of annoying. And then there's, of course, Sonic X, where in Seasons 1 and 2 she was mad annoying. Season 3 Amy, Sonic X was a tad different, but Season 1 and 2 Amy, just annoying. So I'm glad in this game they chose to like focus more on her like passionate and like caring side, because that's the side of Amy I really like, I really enjoy. That's the side we got to see a little bit of in SA1. We also got to see a little bit of in Rise of Lyric in the Boom cartoon. We also got to see a little bit of it in Unleashed as another great example. It's her good side, and I like seeing that. I like it being focused on. Personally speaking, I like those traits about Amy, and I think they need to be focused on more like they are here. So, that's just my thoughts.
Something wrong?
They say their Amore was stationed on the far side of the field. This is the field.
I'm not seeing a lot of farming going on.
Maybe, if you use that new technique of yours, you can clean up all this wild brush?
And here we are with probably the dumbest mini game in the whole game. I don't mind it, personally speaking, because it's easy as fuck, but it is one of the dumbest mini games I think I've ever encountered in a game because of its premise. At first I thought I was supposed to side loop these things. No. That would have made too much sense, wouldn't it? Like, that would have been like an actual cool minigame idea. Nope. Not cool minigame idea, but, you know, better than what you actually have to do. Because you actually just have to cut grass. Which is a tad ridiculous, I won't lie. And I'm probably gonna fail at it because of me not understanding what the minigame was about at first. So yeah. But yeah, give my thoughts on Amy. I want to give my thoughts on Sonic more in depth too, because I've know I talked previously about about how I think the characters are better written in this game, but I want to go in depth at certain points about certain characters. And since we are far enough in the game for you to notice some of it, I do really prefer the way Sonic's written here. It feels a lot like how he was written in Unleashed, where he was just a chill dude who occasionally had a snarky or funny remark, you know? Like, he occasionally cracked a joke or said something snarky or sarcastic. That's what this feels like. He does feel a little more snarky and sarcastic than Unleashed Sonic. But, you know, I think it works. You know? I think this is the best portrayal of Sonic we've ever gotten. And I think the only ones that come close, personally speaking, are SA2 and Unleashed, and the IDW comics. But I like the way he's written here better than IDW. I gotta give props to Ian Flynn for not writing Eggman and Sonic exactly how he writes them in the IDW comics, because I have a couple gripes with the IDW versions of Sonic and Eggman, and I'm kind of glad that here there are a few differences that negate those, like that those aren't carried over entirely, because for one, in the IDW comics, Sonic is like a lot more stubborn than he is here. I mean, yeah, he's pretty stubborn in this game. Given what his mission is, though, is kind of justified. The IDW comics, he's really stubborn. It's not the annoying part of his character in the IDW comics, it's just noticeable. His character doesn't annoy me as much as Eggman in the IDW comics. And honestly, he only annoys me a little bit. Eggman's is a whole different ballpark, where, like, he seems to purposely not do the smartest idea because he wants to actually, like, I don't know, there's a few times where he could just destroy Sonic or one, and then, like, he just backtracks on it because he wants to do it his way, you know? It's just kind of, I'm just kind of glad Eggman here is not portrayed like that.
Used to be farmland, huh?
Yes. They make it sound like it was abundant. But now...
I mean, it's grassy.
Yup. But I've seen this kind of recovery in areas Dr. Eggman damaged. Something ruined this land, and it's barely begun to recover.
Then we need to make sure it has plenty of time to heal.
Right.
I mean, that would explain why there's like boulders and rocks everywhere. Like, this place hasn't fully, like, you know, recovered. It would also explain why, like, some areas have craters and, like, ravines and stuff. Just big gaping holes. It also would explain Chaos Island, which we'll get to eventually. Honestly speaking, the final island of the game is the most beautiful. It looks a lot like Kronos Island, but it's... I don't know. To me, it looks better than Kronos Island. I don't know if it's a lighting thing or what, but, like... it just looks better than Kronos Island to me. Well, it might just be me. Even though it's like the same design as Kronos Island in terms of grass and stuff. I don't know, it just kind of pops out more, I guess. Something I think was a missed opportunity though is they could have just put snow over the final island and it would have been like different enough. I've seen people complain that the 4th and 5th island are too much like the first island. Spoiler alert, because I'm still on the first island in this Let's Play. And to that, I gotta say, they literally could have just put snow over the final island, and I think it would have been different enough, because the layout of the final island and some of the design choices, like some of the structures there, definitely stand out from Kronos Island. So if they would have just put snow over it, and made it like a snowy island, and still had the grass and stuff, but you know there was snow over it, I think it would have been different enough. You know? To me, that's like the easiest choice they could have went with, like the one that would be the least time consuming to make it different, you know? But I guess they probably didn't even have enough time for that. I honestly feel for Sonic Team. They want to make the series really great. And their shortcomings are always caused by, like, time constraints by Sega. And I just gotta say, it's kind of ridiculous. This game already took 5 years, which, yeah, in this case, I'm somewhat glad that Sega didn't let them delay it again, because I don't think I could have waited another year. I don't think a lot of people could have waited another year. But at the same time, they deserve to have the amount of time they wanted with this game. They deserved it, you know? Sonic Team works hard. They want what's best for the series. And, like, I've seen people blame Blind Squirrel for the way that Colors Ultimate came out. And I don't know about, like, what people say about the Mass Effect collection, but they also did, like, Borderlands, the Game of the Year edition, I think it was called. And they did the BioShock collection, which I think both came out really well. A lot better than Colors Ultimate did anyway, because I've never come across a bug in either of those. And I've come across quite a few in Colors Ultimate, even after the patches. So, like, I don't think that was, like, Blind Squirrel's fault. I literally think they just weren't given enough time by Sega. And the reason I think that my reasoning for that has enough backing as it is, because we gotta look at the fact they rushed Sonic Team to get, like, Frontiers out this year, even though I think, like, Sonic Team already got them to, like, delay it a bit, because let's be real, knowing Sonic Team, this game would have came out in 2020 and would have been complete trash. But, or not Sonic Team, knowing Sega, this game would have came out in 2020 and would have been complete trash because they rushed Sonic Team. But it came out this year, and it only has a few problems. You know? Instead of being an 06 like it could have been, it's more of a, like an Unleashed, where it's really phenomenal, but it has like a few problems here and there. Because let's be real, Unleashed may be the peak of the 3D Sonic games. Let's be honest, it really is. but it still has a few issues. There's not really one Sonic game without issues. Even the classic 2D games, even though people want to pretend they don't got them, have a few issues. I think the only classic 2D game that don't have issues is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but that's just because I've never ran into issues with that one. Sonic 1 is makes you slow down too much. Sonic 2, oh, you know what, I'll get to it in a second. Let's let Sage talk.
From cyberspace so freely?
I don't know. I guess I'm just that awesome. Yeah. Although, I bet you'd have better insight on that.
I will not share data with the enemy. Besides, your survival may be a fluke. You cannot cheat fate forever.
Wow, thanks for the encouragement. Now, I'll keep doing it until I figure out how to rescue Amy. Yeah, it doesn't matter if this is all one big trap or if you keep throwing weird robots at me. Nothing's gonna slow me down or stop me. Count on it.
Yeah, so yeah, as I was saying, Sonic games have really, like, each had a problem from the beginning. Like, Sonic 1 had some weird level design after Green Hill where, like, there was too much slow platforming when Sonic's supposed to go fast. Sonic 2 has some pretty, like, if I'm being real here, it has some pretty weak-ass boss designs. And that can go for Sonic 1 and CD as well. I think the bosses in 3 and K are fine. Like, I think 3 and K and Mania get classic Sonic bosses right, but the other classic games kinda ain't it. And this ain't one of those dumbass fucking piece of shit opinions that are like, oh, Sonic was never good. Like, you know, those dumbass people. No, that's not what I'm getting at here. When you really think about it, every video game that's ever been made has at least one problem with it. It's just that, like, 3D Sonic games tend to get judged more harshly because of the lol Sonic bad joke that the gaming community likes to do for some reason. And it's a joke that's, like, way too old by now, because they've been doing it since after 06. And you gotta keep in mind, 06 came out fucking... Give me a second here, I gotta do the math. 06 came out like 18 years ago, my guy. Like 18, is it 18? No. Let's see, 20 by this... 06 came out 16 years ago. So yeah, the jokes run stale, guys. It's not funny anymore. 16 fucking years is ridiculous. And honestly speaking, some of it's earned. Like, I get it. Like, when 06 came out, yeah, you can clown it. That's fair. When Lost World and Forces came out, yeah, you can clown them. That's fair. But don't keep the lol Sonic was never good, Sonic bad joke going on when there's no, like, evidence to your, like, claim. Like, yeah, Sonic 1 is rough around the edges, but when you look back to games like Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Mania, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Unleashed, the Rush games, Sonic Generations, Sonic fucking Frontiers, and I would even throw Rider Zero Gravity in there, because in my opinion, I really loved Rider Zero Gravity, and it really didn't have that many issues. It's actually the only Riders game that I think was, like, completely stable and didn't have, like, something that bugged me about it. Like, Rider Zero Gravity was definitely peak Riders game for me. But, yeah, like, all those games are kind of evidence. Not necessarily Rider Zero Gravity, that's just a personal opinion, but the rest of them are kind of evidence that the low Sonic bad, Sonic was always bad joke isn't funny, nor is it true. Like, quite honestly, yeah, I was purposely trying to kill myself there. For anybody who's wondering, but personally speaking, I think literally all you gotta do is bring up Sonic 3 and K, the Rush games, and Unleashed. And already, they don't have an argument to stand on. Just bring up those 4 games, and they literally don't have an argument to stand on. You could also bring up Sonic Sat AM and the Sonic Boom TV show, which were both really good shows. You'd also bring those up. We're gonna just ignore the other 3, because, yeah, Sonic X Season 3 is good, but I would never sit through Season 1 or 2, and, like, at this point. I liked them when I was younger, but as I got older, I kind of realized how bad Sonic X Season 1 and 2 were. But yeah, Sonic X Season 3, the entirety of the Sonic Boom show, the entirety of Sat AM, like, outside of games, Sonic has always been good at some point, you know? And there's the Sonic movie, and Sonic Movie 2, and upcoming Sonic 3. Like, I'm just saying, your argument falls flat when you really think about it. Sonic has problems like every other series, but I don't see those series getting, like, as much crap as it. Look at fucking Resident Evil. Resident Evil lost their way literally for a few years. Like, you gotta think about it. From the time that RE4 was released to the time RE7 was released, between those 2 games, there wasn't a single, like, RE game that truly felt like the series. I mean, yeah, there's the Revelations games, which were pretty good, and love the Revelations games, and I think they did a fantastic job. I think they're an interesting take on the RE series, but I'm talking about, they don't feel like classic RE. Like, RE7 and even RE8 both feel like classic RE, and I would say every game up to 4, and including 4, feel like classic RE. We do not acknowledge RE5 and 6. They are just not, they're not existent. But here's the thing, I don't see people calling RE games, or the RE series, trash because of a couple bad games. No, I don't. But, you know, when Sonic Team makes a bad game, everybody's like, well, Sonic bad. Like, literally, that's literally what happens every time there's a Sonic game released, even when it's not even bad. Like, Frontiers is a phenomenal game, despite its few issues. And the people are still making the joke. I'm like, fam, look at Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot fell off so hard it died for a decade. It fell off after Twinsanity so hard that it died for a decade. My guy, like, literally, I personally enjoyed Crash of the Titans and My Number Mutant when I was younger. And I'd probably still enjoy them now, but even I gotta admit, they were bizarre directions for the series that it shouldn't have taken. And they're directions that got the series killed for 10 years. And I don't see people going, lol, Crash bad. And honestly, I don't want them to. I'm a fan of Crash Bandicoot and Resident Evil. I don't want people doing it to those series. I'm just using them as examples to show that Sonic isn't the only series with problems, and that the lol Sonic bad joke doesn't even make sense. That's why it's not funny, because it doesn't make sense. Like, even if a joke is not based on truth, it has to make sense. That's how comedy works, you know? Like, it has to make sense to some degree. Even the most random jokes that make people laugh make some kind of sense. You know, they're funny because they're random. You know, there's the logic there. what's the reason that LOL Sonic bad is funny? Like, what's the logic there? There is none. That's why it's not funny. It's not even a random joke where you can just go, oh, it's random, that's why it's funny. Like, no, there's literally no reason you can say it's funny. And it's just so bad at this point that I'm surprised the whole gaming community as a whole is not sick of the joke. Like, Sonic fans, obviously, we got a reason to be sick of the joke. But, like, at this point, you think the entire gaming community would be sick of, like, game reviewers making that joke? You'd think they would. But no, they just enable it. Seriously. But I think that's kind of ridiculous, because every series that's lasted as long as Sonic, or almost as long as Sonic, and I gave 2 examples of series that have been around almost as long as Sonic, Crash Bandicoot and Resident Evil, have had their downsides, man. Like, look at Ratchet and Clank. Like, Ratchet and Clank literally fell off between A Crack in Time and Rift Apart. We did not get a single good Ratchet game between that time. Yeah, the 2016 game's fun to play, but its story is trash. And, like, it doesn't have, like, as interesting as a level layout as, like, the future games or the classic games or Rift Apart. Like, Rift Apart, as a Ratchet and Clank fan, Rift Apart's what I've been wanting for years. Like,
keep tabs on the Hedgehog. I want constant updates.
Yes, sir.
And keep looking for a way to get me out of here.
I am evaluating all safe options.
Keep up the good work, Sage.
Thank you, Doctor.
no, but seriously, with Rift Apart, every planet has an interesting design. Some of them are, like, even opened up. Some of them use rifts to have you go between different versions of the planet. And I think that is genius. I really do. I think that's genius. Some of them use rifts for you to get gold bolts, and I think that's also genius. And, like, on top of that, the story is phenomenal, the voice acting is phenomenal. There's not one point in the game where I cringe. There's a funny-ass joke near the end where they censor Clank cussing, where it's like, Clank's like, holy bleep! Like, that had me laughing my ass off the first time I heard it, man. Like, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart really was what I've wanted of a Ratchet and Clank game since A Crack in Time. Since A Crack in Time. All for One was ass. Full Frontal Assault was ass. Into the Nexus was okay. It was a little short, but it was okay. But the 2016 game, aside from, like, the addicting gameplay that was carried over from the future series, was kind of ass. Like, I'm just saying. I love the Ratchet and Clank series, and I wouldn't want people making the lol bad joke about it. But it's just another example where I could just go, yeah, this series had a downtime too, where, like, it wasn't doing so good. And people don't cloud it. Like, I'm just saying. And I'm using game series I love as examples because it's a bit harder to go after game series I don't like, because I won't be paying attention to them. You know? I think the only game series that haven't really suffered that much are God of War. No, that might be it. It's God of War. I think that's the only game series that's never had a bad game. Let's be real. But yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but back to the topic at hand. I just think the joke is not funny. It never was funny. It might have been funny in the context of around the time 06 was released. I was too young to play, like, to really pay attention to releases and stuff at that time, and I didn't really play 06 until a few years later. Like, literally, when I started playing Sonic games when I was like 4 years old, and that was like in 2003, and it was with the Sega Genesis collection on PS2. And then later on, I played like the Sonic Gems collection, or no, the Sonic Mega collection, which had a bunch of classic Sonic games. I played Sonic Heroes, and I've played what was the other one? And I played Sonic Riders, all three around the same time. So this is about 2004, 2005, you know. Then I played Unleashed when it came out. I played Shadow the Hedgehog between Unleashed in 2005, and so on and so forth.
The range of my control, but I can still only command a few of the Ancient's relics at a time.
Commendable. But what about finding me a way out of this digital dimension?
I have run 1,700,050 simulations. There is no scenario to safely remove you from cyberspace.
Unacceptable. Keep looking. Make it your #1 priority.
But keeping you safe is my priority.
So yeah, back to the topic at hand. I'm sorry I keep getting like sidetracked with like details, but my point is, it doesn't really make sense to make this joke about Sonic. And it doesn't really make sense to say most Sonic games are bad, because Sonic has only had a bad game here and there. And yeah, there are usually multiple bad games in a row when it happens. But, seriously. Like, the only games in the series that I actually get people trashing are Shadow the Hedgehog, 06, Secret Rings, Lost World, Rise of Lyric, and Forces.
Would you like to try?
Those are the only 6 games in the series that I can see why people trash them. And I know you're probably like, 6 games, that's a lot. Series must be trash. But no. I can name more than that for games that don't make sense to trash. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Mania, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes. All 3 of the Riders games, that brings it up to 11 already. I'm already at 11, just keep that in mind. The Rush games, which brings it up to 13. Unleashed, Black Knight, Generations, Colors, Frontiers. That literally is 18 games that don't make sense to trash versus 6. A third of the series is trash. That's not bad, considering that that's about the same amount of trash games that the RE series has. The RE series has 5, 6. They have Resistance, which was complete trash. You know, the game you got with RE3. They got Operation Raccoon City, which was trash. A third of the RE series is trash. But they don't get the same hate. I'm glad they don't get that hate, but at the same time, it don't make sense. Sonic gets hate for a few bad games versus the plenty of good games it has. That's why the joke don't work. But I'm gonna end off the video here, so yeah. Bye. See ya.
Over.